This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Thursday. It's a freaking Thursday. Almost Friday. As if that matters to me, as if that changes my routine any. I know some of you working for the weekend. I mean, it does change my routine a little bit because, you know, I'll take Friday off. We'll do wrestling on Saturday. And then it's back to the news on Sunday. Good evening. Welcome. Princess Kimberly, Fragwitz, DJ Dub. I'm not high enough for this shit. The news be doing stupid shit. We might have the OMB director confirmed here in a second. I've got that up live. Trump sanctioning the ICC. While that happens right after he visits with his buddy Netanyahu. Pulled out his chair for him and everything. Protests erupted across the country yesterday. I've got Amy Klobuchar auditioning maybe for a spot at the correspondence dinner. She was working on her top 5. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say about this. Marjorie Taylor Greene defending Elon Musk while the Democrats are being blocked from being able to get into several government buildings, including the EPA. Today they tried to head into the EPA. Ooh, we got a Doge staffer resigning because he's apparently a Nazi. It's weird how this keeps all these coincidences with Elon Musk and all these Nazi-associated people. It's just a coinky-dink, right? He's not a Nazi. That wasn't a Nazi salute. Jesus Christ. My notes are compiled, but I didn't take out all the spaces, so I'm having to go through and make everything look better for myself, so it's not all spaced out here. I got all kinds of crazy crime stories. I skipped the crime section last night, and I had all kinds of crazy stories last night. I got other crazy stories to add to it. We got a cop that's been charged with indecent exposure. A man was impersonating an ICE officer. A Miami woman beat her daughter with a guitar. We got new information in the Karen Reed case. That was the woman who was accused of murdering her cop boyfriend, which made her that much hotter to me. This dude in Maine had a standoff with the cops. He was apparently a hardcore MAGA motherfucker. Had a standoff with the cops, videotaped a good portion of it. We're going to watch it. There's TB all over the country, in Kansas and Michigan and Ohio. It's the worst outbreak of TB in, decades? In a century? All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol live. Good evening. Welcome in. Flash. Holiday. Good evening, my friends. Probably found these dudes in some Nazi Discord. I wouldn't doubt it at all. This is the live shot on the Senate floor. We could be confirming Russell Vaught.
Mr. Cruz, Mr. Curtis.
Within moments. Liddy, good evening.
Ms. Duckworth.
DJ Dub with the resub. With the resub D.
Ms. Ernst.
Oh, did you hear that? Miss Ernst. Called the name of my GOP mommy. I wonder how she voted.
Mr. Gallego.
Fuzzy Simba, good evening.
Gillibrand, Mr. Graham.
I think they've already went through the roll call and they're just calling people that are absent.
See,
That looks to be Senator Ernst right up here, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'd know that pretty face anywhere. This is the confirmation of Russell Vaught to be the director of the Office of Management and Budget. A vote on Project 2025. The Democrats have stalled as long as they could. They held the floor open all night last night. Warlord, good evening. This is the nominee they've actually took a stand on, or the first one they took a real stand on.
Mr. Grassley.
But it does look like he will indeed
Mr. Haggerty.
be confirmed.
Ms. Hassan. Mr. Hawley.
Oh God, I got Smokey by next to me
Mr.
here.
Heinrich. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Rono. Mr. Hoven.
Oh no, I think maybe they moved on. It looks like they've already confirmed him.
Mrs. Hyde Smith. Mr. Johnson.
The vote took place like 30
Mr.
minutes ago.
Justice. Mr. Kane. Mr. Kelly.
So I don't even know what this is a vote on.
Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kim. Mr. King.
So he has indeed been confirmed. This was Russell Voigt.
Mr. Lankford.
He was the nominee to be director of the Office of Management and Budget.
Mr. Lujan. Ms. Lummis.
He was one of the authors of Project 2025. Byronic, good evening. Ow, goddamn it, Smokey! I love that cat so much, but God!
Mr. Merkley. Mr. Moody. Mrs. Moody.
What color am I going to have to
Moran.
change it to?
I did get you, thank you. Mr. Moreno.
I mean, I really
Mr.
couldn't make it
Mullen,
through
Mr.
it last
Murkowski,
night.
Mr. Murphy. That's who it was. Mrs. Murray. Mr. Oxford.
I'm not bald. I have hair
Mr.
again.
Padilla. Mr. Paul. Mr. Peters.
Mr. Peters. So yeah, apparently this says
Mr. Reed.
considers OMB nominee, but apparently he was
Mr. Ricketts.
confirmed
Mr. Rick.
minutes ago. We missed the actual confirmation. Who knows what they're voting on now? Trump gave a speech at the National Prayer Breakfast earlier today. Byronic, did you ever tell me which color? I mean, any color of the rainbow. I got some all.
The element, the everything that's going to be happy. People of religion are going to be happy.
I've got two reds just right
I
here.
believe you can't be happy without religion, without that belief. I really believe it. I just don't see how you can be. So let's bring religion back. Let's bring God back into our lives. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Great honor. Thank you.
Did religion ever leave? I didn't know that religion ever left. Quesadilla, PP girl, good evening. Let's do dark red. I am doing the news. What do you think we're doing? I got to change my bandana color. I don't know what you're talking about. Bald. Look at all this hair. Who you calling bald? I mean, I guess if I really wanted to, I could key the color out. I could put on a noxious green bandana and that'd make it really easy. Meat cakes! I don't know what you're talking about holding on by a thread. Somebody, first of all, Warlord tried to narc me out in my own Discord. We don't put up with narcs. Snitches get stitches. But like you're even trying to narc me out. What the hell? Apparently you did not watch the video because there is very clearly a disclaimer that says that I am stupid. Do not do what I said to do. This is not financial advice. This is not tax advice. So I don't know what I did that was illegal. Trump signed an executive order sanctioning the International Criminal Court. I can't believe I'm saying this. Calling the police for my crimes.
Front over the war in Gaza tonight, signing an executive order sanctioning the International Criminal Court. That is the court that has issued an arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu. Well, our U.S. correspondent James Matthews is in Washington for us tonight. And James, perhaps no coincidence the timing of this.
Yeah, hi, Barbara. That's right. The Netanyahu
That's what I said.
factor. What's happened is that Donald Trump has signed this executive order sanctioning the International Criminal Court, to which, of course, the United States is not signed up. Trump is accusing the court of inappropriately targeting the United States and Israel. Financial and visa sanctions, he says, will be placed on individuals from the court who pursue U.S. citizens and U.S. allies. So essentially, the message is keep your hands off Benjamin.
That's insane.
There has been history, of course, between the U.S. and the court. After an episode last November, you'll remember the court issued arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and simultaneously for leaders of Hamas. The Trump administration is calling that a shameful moral equivalency that should never have been applied. A couple of extra lines coming out of the White House in the past half hour, Barbara. You'll remember USAID, 10,000 strong in terms of its workforce. That's being shut down. The White House is saying that fewer than 300 employees will be retained. And today,
Yeah, the entire agency.
Mark Zuckerberg has been inside the White House, the Meta boss, talking about how his company can help to defend and further American tech leadership abroad.
James.
Oh yeah, that sounds great.
In Washington, D.C. James, thank you.
Now, I'm not gonna pretend that I knew fucking jack shit about USAID. I don't know that I even knew that it exists. I probably vaguely did because I do the news constantly. But the idea that all these motherfuckers on Twitter are certain that USAID has been smuggling, whitewashing, laundering, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Laundering money for the CIA, and like I don't doubt that it probably has in some cases. But like these people are experts on like I may have vaguely knew that it existed before last week, and all of a sudden these people are experts on it. It's insane. It's like that fucking 25-year-old from Canada calling me and didn't even know about the signing on to the treaty and the security assurances and then tries to tell me all about it. It's like learn to feel embarrassment. It's okay to admit that you don't know about shit. Don't have opinions on shit you don't know about. Devil, is that a riddle? Anakin is an Anakin Skywalker? Is that who we're talking about? I don't know. If I ruined your joke, I apologize. I kind of went over my head, I guess. But good evening, Devil. Welcome in. Glad to see you, my friend. It's probably all me. I'm stupid. And also, like, I didn't even watch Star Wars until a couple of years ago. Haven't even seen them all yet. I got one more in the prequels to go. I've liked the prequels. This is the UN special report on Gaza, and she's got some words.
Shall I sit? President Trump. Oh, where to start? The short answer to your question is what he proposes is utter nonsense.
Is what?
Utter nonsense.
Utter nonsense.
And it's unlawful. What he proposes, people talk of ethnic cleansing. No, it's worse. It's worse. It's forced displacement. He's inciting to commit forced displacement, which is an international crime. Forced displacement and further dispossession. And in the context of a genocide, it will strengthen the complicity in the crimes that Israel has been committing over the past 15 months and before. It's unlawful, immoral, and irresponsible. It's completely irresponsible because it will make the regional crisis even worse. And I truly hope that people will stay calm, will not panic, and will remember that the international community is made of 193 states, and this is the time to give the US what it has been looking for: isolation. We have survived 15 months of relentless bombing and killing, including through sniper fires. There is documentation of children who have been shot in the torso and in the head. And they have been living in tents without any access to water, any dignified access to water, shelter, food. And these people need to be helped. This is what we should really absorb, that this is a population of genocide survivors, and they need to be rescued before thinking of who's going to rebuild Gaza. Of course, Gaza is going to be rebuilt and will be rebuilt, but no one has the right to say how Gaza will be rebuilt other than the Palestinians. I know that this is going to generate panic across the world because it bears huge consequences. We live in a world where the United States are ingrained in our politics, in our lifestyle, in everything we do, in our economies. So this influence is hugely felt, and no one alone will be able to stand against the United States. But this will be the default option. It will be either subservience, a world made of vassals who abide by this lawlessness and nonsense that is being propagated, and the other will be to take a principled stance and say enough, so start disengaging.
Give the United States what it wants: isolation. Not everybody in the United States wants that. Protests popped up in all 50 state capitals yesterday. What is the 5051, 5501, 5501? I don't even know what it's called. Excuse me. What to know about the movement sparking protests around the U.S.?
What do we do when our immigrant neighbors and family are under attack?
Girls of Gray, good evening. Who else came in here on me?
Protests in 50 states.
Alien,
Today,
good evening.
to fight recent actions by the Trump administration. Lawmakers and protesters showed up in Washington, D.C. to express their concern and outrage.
I've seen this before. I've seen this before where us turning up at the volume by getting more people engaged and activated stops Donald Trump in his tracks. We did it on everything from healthcare to even just about a week or so ago when they tried to freeze all federal funding going to help our first responders, our veterans, our seniors, and more. We can win. We do have power, but we need everybody to speak up.
The movement appears to have organically come together from efforts by supporters on TikTok and Reddit. A moderator in the subreddit group 5051 said the movement had amassed 72,000 participants in less than 2 weeks.
I'm really concerned about the way that we've kind of done an end run around the Constitution. So I'm a lawyer, I'm a military spouse, and it's just really hard to sit across the river and watch one person act as an entire agency that hasn't been approved by Congress.
I certainly see it as an expression of disagreement, of anger, of fear with policies being enacted. That anyone who tries to subvert constitutional order and exert powers that don't belong to the executive branch or exert powers that don't belong to their branch of government, I hope this would elicit the same reaction no matter who did it.
In a joint press release, the organizers of 5051 and the Revolution organization stated, quote, "Our goal is to unite the American people against our common enemy, the Trump administration, anyone involved in dismantling our democracy, and anyone who wishes to divide us by our differences instead of unite us by what makes us American."
The yeas are 50.
I'm in like a quintuple state area, and still like the closest state capital to me is like 5 hours away. Any of the state capitals in the like 5 states that I'm very close to, so because I did contemplate it, but getting to one of them would be an issue. I don't even think the closest one would be my own state capital. That's what's wild. Amy Klobuchar might be coming for my job. She might be auditioning for host of the Troll Patrol of some late night talk show. See what you guys think. What do you think about the Klobentum?
Speaking of Greenland, there's a question for you that I want to pose. What is the difference between Greenland and Donald Trump? Greenland is not for sale. Okay, for any Republican Trump administration person out there that want to throw eggs at me as a result of that joke, you can't because they're too expensive. Speaking of Greenland,
she's proud of herself too. Mox, good evening. What'd you guys? I'm glad Mox is here for this. What'd you think of Amy Klobuchar? She got jokes.
Greenland, there's a question for you that I want to pose. What is the difference between Greenland and Donald Trump? Greenland is not for sale. Okay, for any Republican Trump administration person out there that want to throw eggs at me as a result of that joke, you can't because they're too expensive.
I mean, I can't fault somebody for cheesy jokes. But I'm sitting here doing hours and hours of content off the cuff. And sometimes cheesy jokes are what, just land. She wrote that in a speech. She had a speechwriter probably write it for her. Mox thinks she bombed. I thought the egg joke really, it won the audience over. They booed her on the first part, but she knew that was coming. Apparently, we're like, is a blizzard coming for the Northeast? I believe we've got some wild weather that's getting ready to hit.
That we do not have a king. We have a president.
Oh, this has nothing to do with weather. This is a second federal judge has blocked Trump's birthright citizen order.
Who must abide by the laws. And if they want to amend the Constitution, there is a process by which to do that. But as of today, we're back to the status quo that we've had in this country for 150 years. That you are an American if you are born on U.S. soil. So I'm really thrilled with the court's reaffirmance of that today. Well, this case will proceed, and now the preliminary injunction that we have is the law of the land. Once again, the United States government cannot take any action to enforce or implement the executive order that was issued by the president, and we will see what next steps the United States tries to take. But for now...
But who's going to stop them?
We'll be subject to the court's further rulings. Well, for now, those cases will proceed in 2 different courts, and we have great colleagues across this country and another coalition of Democratic attorney generals bringing a case in the District of Massachusetts, and those cases will continue to proceed, and that is appropriate when we have big, immense challenges. And what we're facing right now in this country is the Trump administration moving 100 miles an hour in 100 different areas and on a daily basis breaking the law, violating the United States Constitution. And that is, I think, a reinforcement from my perspective why it's so important to have multiple cases being brought across this country to make sure that we are responding with the same urgency that we're seeing to the lawlessness from Washington, D.C.
But I mean, who's going to stop them? At some point, it's going to come down to who has the guns. I don't know how I feel about that, right? Trump DOJ suing the city of Chicago.
The U.S. Justice Department's now suing Illinois, the city of Chicago, and Cook County leaders over immigration laws. The suit claims several state and local laws are designed to interfere with the federal government's enforcement of immigration laws. It claims state and local laws, namely the Way Forward Act, Trust Act, Welcoming City Act, as well as a county ordinance, all violate the Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution. The lawsuit wants the challenged provisions to be declared invalid and no longer enforced. President Trump's border czar addressed the lawsuit this morning, saying sanctuary cities are only sanctuaries for criminals.
If anybody wants an immigrant community, ask them a simple question: would you rather have ICE operating in the jail or the community? They're going to say they want us in the jail, because these immigrant communities, many are here illegally, but they also are family people too. They don't want a predator in their neighborhood released back in the community. So, we're going to hold sanctuary cities accountable. We're going to take them on it, and we'll take them to court.
Governor Pritzker responded to the suit in a statement. He said, in part, the bipartisan Illinois Trust Act signed into law by a Republican governor has always been compliant with federal law and still is today. Instead of working with us to support law enforcement, the Trump administration's making it more difficult to protect the public.
Yep.
We look forward to seeing them in court.
A Doge staffer has resigned over racist social media posts. One of Elon Musk's trusted Doge staffers has resigned from his position after his links to racist social media posts promoting eugenics were unearthed. Marco Elez was one of 2 employees at the Department of Government Efficiency granted access to $5 trillion in Treasury payment systems following an 11th hour court hearing on Thursday. But by Thursday afternoon, the 25-year-old trusted Musk ally had resigned after the Wall Street Journal probed his links to the since-deleted social media account. According to the publication, the Twitter account advocated repealing the Civil Rights Act and backed a eugenic immigration policy. Other posts allegedly read, "You could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity. Normalize Indian hate." Another allegedly read, "Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool." The account also weighed in on the Israeli-Palestine conflict, and a post that read, "I would not mind at all if Gaza and Israel were both wiped off the face of the earth." White House spokesperson Carolyn Levitt said that Elez had resigned from his role. Elez is a graduate with a computer science degree from Rutgers University, and that's exactly what I would expect him to look like. Comes after a last-ditch court request to limit Doge's access to Treasury's $5 trillion system, the first hiccup for the nascent agency after weeks of ruthlessly purging federal institutions to eliminate waste and overspending over the coming days and weeks. The court's decision on privacy concerns about Doge's access to the data will be a monumental test of their power to infiltrate and wipe out government spending. Lawyers with the Justice Department agreed to a motion that allows only 2 people associated with Musk's read-only access to the system, including tax returns and social security numbers, on the condition that they do not share what they find with colleagues. Those 2 employees are Musk's disciples, Tom Krause and Alez. Virginia Congressman Don Beyer described Alez's resignation as a scandal. Elon Musk gave a self-described racist and eugenicist access to a system that controls all financial payments from the U.S. Treasury. The system also contains the personal information, including Social Security info, of every American. This is why we have a process to vet civil servants and why we hire and promote them based on merit, not their personal relationship to some rich guy. How dare Elon Musk bully and threaten good people who spent their careers serving the American people when he brings this level of gross incompetence to his work? He demanded everyone who was involved in hiring Alez be fired and said Doge should be deleted in its entirety. Musk has faced criticism for his decision to hire a hand-picked team of young, college-aged men to help him purge federal agencies and eliminate waste. This week, 6 men aged between 19 and 25 were publicly identified. At just 19, Edward Korstein is the youngest of the fresh-faced bunch, taking on corporate America and long-standing government incident taking on corporate America. Bullshit. Akash Baba, 21, Ethan Shawotran, 22, and Luke Ferreter, 23, along with Korstein, have reportedly been granted A-suite level clearance for their work, meaning they can work out of the agency's top floor with access to all physical spaces and IT systems. We have the pictures of these motherfuckers. That is Luke Ferreter. Or is that Luke Ferreter? Is that the same person? Does he kind of look like Grimes, and is that weird? This might be Edward. I don't know how Daily Mail has this laid out. This might be Edward Korstein. Or this is Edward Korstein. Socialist aunt. This is Akash Baba. This is Ethan Shawotran. I don't remember reading the Gautier Cole Killian. These are the people that are like slashing our government currently. They're all kids. This is wild.
As we dug into USAID, it became apparent that what we have here is not an apple with a worm in it, but we have actually just a bowl of worms. And so at the point at which you don't merely, like if you've got an apple and it's got a worm in it, maybe you can take the worm out. But if you've got actually just a bowl of worms, it's hopeless. And
he's not talking about USAID. He's talking about Robert F. Kennedy's fucking brain. It's just a ball of worms. After widespread criticism about the men's youth, Musk released a statement about the appointments. Time to confess, media reports saying that Doge has some of the world's best software engineers are in fact true. Marjorie Taylor Greene defended Elon Musk's work because of course she did. This is still from that raucous meeting yesterday. Energy Flow, good evening.
From the state of Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My Democrat colleagues are reacting with manufactured outrage over Elon Musk and the Doge team going in and cleaning up the federal government. They're saying the American people did not vote for this, but I would like to correct that.
Well, I would take issue with the fact that they're cleaning up the American government. I'd be all for that if they were actually cleaning up the American government. No, I think they're actually going in and stealing our gold, literally.
Record. On July 13th, when President Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, Elon Musk got behind President Trump and he endorsed him. And then on August 19th of 2024, this is before the election, Elon Musk posted on his own account, "I am willing to serve," and that right there says Doge. This was not something that was created after the election. It is no surprise to the American people. As a matter of fact, the Department of
Government Efficiency
was a key part of President Trump's campaign, and President Trump campaigned over and over again on Doge and Elon Musk helping him. As a matter of fact, right here on Rolling Stones, which is very far left, by the way, Trump says he would give Elon Musk...
The Rolling Stones, very far left.
Administration. Again, this was on August 20th, 2024, well before the election. This was no surprise to the American people. The American people love Doge so much. They love the concept of saving the federal government, saving Americans, and putting America first, cutting the waste and the spending, cutting down the size of the federal government. They love it so much, they voted for President Trump and elected him with an overwhelming victory. He won the popular vote, 312 electoral college votes. It's the Democrats that are the ones that are still lost on their message, and their message is a failure, and the American people spoke out about it. As the national debt approaches $36.5 trillion, our children and our grandchildren's futures are being sacrificed at the altar of wasteful government spending and corruption. With my new subcommittee on Doge this Congress, we are going to dig deep on the wasteful spending and corrupt bureaucracies that plagued our nation for far too long. We will make recommendations to address these problems, and we will make sure the American people know exactly what is being done with their hard-earned tax dollars. After all, this is what they voted for. Governor Reynolds. In Iowa, the state legislature...
Girl the Great, I tell you good evening.
2023, that lowered the number of cabinet-level departments from...
I'm not high enough for this shit. Light one up, tip one back.
So I'd like to ask you, did this make the Iowa government more efficient or less efficient?
More efficient.
Not surprised. Is the Iowa government still able to provide all the services your constituents require of you?
We're actually doing a better job of it and putting more money into the programs or returning it back to the taxpayers.
Amazing. It sounds
I don't
like
believe that.
it's already worked in Iowa. Has your state lost money or saved money since reorganizing its government?
$217 million, surpassing our 4-year projection in the first 18 months, and that's conservative. We're going to continue to see savings, and that's how I'm going to continue to reduce the tax burden on our taxpayers.
That is incredible. That's what all of America wants. So how do you think the federal government can translate what Iowa has done to the national level? You've already achieved it in your state. How can we replicate that?
You're doing it.
I don't think we want the rest of the country to be like Iowa.
Look at the inefficiencies in government. Look at the systems. Look at the duplication. Look at the unaccountability. There's no transparency. There's no metrics. There's no data that they can point to. We're standing up Iowa Doge. We want to be a partner in that because I think it's really important that the federal government and the state government and the local governments work together to really implement transformational change. This is an incredible opportunity. I have so much respect for President Trump to put this initiative forward. He received an undeniable mandate in this last election.
Anti-war machine.
We now have supermajorities in both the House and the Senate, the governor's office, and an entire Republican delegation that we've sent out to Washington, D.C. We did just what President Trump does. We told Iowans what we were going to do, and we followed through with it. And that is what Americans...
Where does Iowa rank in like anything?
7 million people said that President Trump is who we want to restore America's greatness.
I absolutely agree with you, Governor Reynolds. Thank you. Mr. Schatz, in all your years at your organization, can you give some of the most egregious examples of government spending you've seen? And I know that's hard to come up with a few because there's a lot.
I talked earlier about broadband programs. It's not necessarily a wasteful expenditure, meaning something isn't trying to be. There were 133 broadband programs in 15 agencies. There are people that are still not connected, I am sure, also in Iowa. $42 billion for the BEAD program.
Iowa ranks 14th in crime, 36th on the economy, 11th in education, 12th in fiscal stability. I'm actually surprised at 21 in healthcare, 10th in infrastructure. Number 3 in opportunity? What?
We want people to be connected to the internet. It's critical for our future. But unless those programs are consolidated and someone figures out which ones are working best, we're not going to achieve that objective. It seems simple, but again, the problem here has been, as it usually is, something isn't working, spend more money, create another program.
I'm sorry.
Look at how it's working.
I've been to Ohio.
And your subcommittee is going to do. And we're happy to help any way we can, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Schatz. And you're right. Under the Biden administration, they actually canceled contracts with Starlink, which are far less expensive, and then never built out the infrastructure for broadband. True failure for the American people. Giant waste of money. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Ben Vox. Yeah, what opportunity is there in Iowa? That's what I want to know. Let's hear from the other side of the aisle on Elon Musk's activities. Here's Ariana Presley. This was when they were out front of the Treasury.
All right, let's give it up for Representative Ayanna Presley.
I'm sorry, did I mispronounce that? Ayanna Presley.
First of all, happy Black History Month, which is American history. There's a sign back there that says Doge actually means dangerous oligarchs grab everything. Well, ain't that the truth? I am so tired of these billionaire boys and their grubby little hands grabbing at everything. Hands off our bodies, hands off our data, hands off our tax refunds, hands off our Social Security checks, hands off our Constitution, hands off our democracy, hands off.
Once again, cheat on your taxes.
As a proud member of the Committee on Oversight, I'm here for some real-time congressional oversight.
Who's going to stop you?
And you are a beautiful sight to see, and you prove that the power of the people has always been greater than the people in power. That was true in Seneca Falls. That was true in Selma.
Anonymously. Yeah, you're in power.
At Stonewall. And it will be here true today. This is an unprecedented moment, a constitutional crisis, but we will match their energy.
Are you sure about that?
With unprecedented organizing, mobilizing, agitating, we will see you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi Nepo baby. A godless, lawless billionaire who no one elected. Elon, this is the American people. This is not your trashy Cybertruck that you can just dismantle, pick apart, and sell the pieces of. And I want to say to our Republican colleagues, pay attention. We're here today in the hopes that you will see the light. But if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
Yes, it's performative dribble. I don't know what we do. Like, what? Somebody gotta go, like, commit industrial sabotage? I don't know what the next step is. The people that can sue are suing. We've got court actions all over the place. But I mean, the courts are barely hanging on. And even if what they say the courts, let's say the courts strike down something that Trump wants to do. Well, if he just does it anyway, who's going to stop him? I'm trying to trap the chat. Oh, yeah. Cheat on your taxes, but like this is not financial advice. Do not take my advice. Do not do what I say to do. But then again, who's working at the IRS anymore? There's not going to be an IRS next spring. I don't want to be cynical or anything. To be fair, we could, if we organize properly, we come up on 2028, and not because of a presidential election, but because there was already the organization for a general strike happening in 2028. That could be a great inflection point. But that takes some sort of leadership. Who in the fuck are we getting behind? Sean Fain for president? What in the hell? Yeah, Mox, Trump is really wrecking things, holding on for 4 years. Gonna be kind of difficult. Or 3 years. Man. Time really flies the older you get. I'm just saying, this might be the last year you file your taxes. He's talking about doing away with the income tax. So I don't know what happens from here. So get that money. You got 30 kids, but this is not financial advice. I had to put it in the video I made. Any tax advice in this communication is not intended or written to be used and cannot be used by a client or any other person or entity for the purpose of avoiding penalties that may be imposed on any taxpayer or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any matters addressed herein. The information contained herein, in general, is general in nature and based on authorities that are subject to change. Applicability to specific situations is to be determined through consultation with your tax advisor. That's all I need to do. That's all I need to read to get myself out of trouble. Come at me, bro. That was Ayanna Pressley outside of the Treasury Department. Earlier today, they tried to get into EPA headquarters and were denied. A group of House and Senate Democrats, so they were denied access to the Environmental Protection Agency's headquarters. It is the third time this week the Democratic lawmakers were blocked from an agency that has been targeted by President Trump and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. On Monday, a large group of Democrats tried to enter the U.S. Agency for International Development, which the administration has moved to shut down. The following day, another cohort of Democrats were denied access to the Department of the Treasury, where DOJ staffers have accessed a payment system that doles out funds for federal agencies. Senator Ed Markey, who held a press conference with a group of House Democrats and environmental groups, said in a social media post that the lawmakers tried and failed to enter the EPA building. We were just denied entrance into the EPA after asking to meet with a DOJ representative. More to come. Markey was joined by Representatives Yasmin Ansari, Paul Tomko, Lloyd Doggett, Maxine Dexter, and Louise Rivas. A group of at least 20 House Democrats, led by Representative Mark Takano, plans to go to the Department of Education on Friday to try to secure a meeting with the acting Secretary Denise Carter. Takano's office said the lawmakers sent Carter a letter on Thursday requesting an urgent meeting regarding the Trump administration's reported efforts to dismantle the Department of Education. So I'm sure they'll be denied again tomorrow. You know they will. Here is White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt promising Trump to deliver the largest tax cuts in history. Not for you or I, I'm sure.
Caroline, Catholic Relief Services, which helps vulnerable people around the globe, is urging President Trump to continue funding their organization. Your response, please.
Sure. Well, I would defer you to the State Department on which foreign organizations or organizations that work overseas, humanitarian aid organizations, will continue to be funded. Secretary Rubio has been tasked with now being the acting administrator of USAID. As you all know, we have streamlined USAID into the State Department. Hey, Rachel. And so we want that we're being good stewards of the American taxpayers' dollars. He is currently going line by line to ensure that foreign aid to private organizations, public organizations, or government organizations aligns with America's interests. So I defer you to them.
In Nicaragua.
Sure, Libby.
2% of federal employees have accepted that buyout that was offered. Is that less than the White House was anticipating?
Well, the last time I checked in with Office of Personnel and Management, there was more than 40,000 individuals, federal workers, who had accepted the buyout program. We expect that number to increase, and that alone, just the 40,000, again, we expect it to increase. It's going to save the American people tens of millions of dollars, and we encourage federal workers in this city to accept the very generous offer. If they don't want to show up to the office, if they want to rip the American people off, then they're welcome to take this buyout and find highly competent individuals who want to fill these roles.
Just to follow up on that, after that deadline tonight passes, I know a lot of people at the White House have said there's still going to be widespread layoffs that would come imminently. Can you expand more on what that would look like?
I was just asked that on television. I have not been part of the discussions about the layoffs in particular. I'm not even sure if that's true. I can check and get back to you.
Meredith? Oh, I was going to ask if you have any updates on the meeting with the lawmakers since we weren't on this afternoon.
I understand the meeting is still ongoing, and it was been quite some time. They're talking about the budget and the priorities from this administration.
It's amazing that she's the press secretary.
If I could, the House Republicans are floating the idea of a 5-year extension of the Trump tax cuts. President Trump wants it permanent. Would he sign a bill that has just a 5-year extension?
So I'm glad you brought up taxes. Do you mind holding this so I can bring my receipts? I like to bring the receipts. So these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration that the president has laid out for members in that meeting today. No tax on tips, which is obviously a very public campaign promise that the president made. No tax on seniors' Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing President Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the
middle class.
Adjusting the SALT cap. Eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners. Close the carried interest tax deduction loophole. tax cuts for Made in America products. This will be the largest tax cut in history for middle-class working Americans. The president is committed to working with Congress to get this done.
I mean, I don't believe any of that. It's funny you should mention the Fox News host that's in the cabinet. He has a little embarrassing thing happen to him. His entire Venmo history is on display. The whole world can see. Pete Hegseth's Venmo is on display in an embarrassing leak. Hegseth's Venmo is publicly viewable and showing his full list of friends and contacts. While Hegseth's transactions are private, his list of friends on the mobile payment service isn't. And it's a who's who of Washington bigwigs, defense contractors, and healthcare executives. A name appearing on Hegseth's friends list could mean he has transacted with the person, but Venmo also has an option to automatically add phone contacts as friends in the app. At the very least, it suggests that the two people are in touch. All over the list are executives from up-and-coming Silicon Valley defense contractors, Palantir, founded by Republican super donor Peter Thiel, and Anduril, both of which already have multi-million-dollar contracts with the DoD. They could be poised for additional deals under Hegseth's regime. His other ties to Silicon Valley include Google's former director of law enforcement and information security, former advisor to Thiel's hedge fund, and former Senator Scott Brown, who since leaving Congress has become the leader of Competitiveness Coalition, a group that advocates against antitrust action. Yep, that sounds about right. In addition to defense and tech, the healthcare industry is well represented in Hegseth's contacts. The friends list features executives at United Health Group, including a vice president, product director, and public affairs consultant. Yeah, not surprised. What is surprising is that Nancy Pelosi is going to have a primary challenge, and apparently a damn good one. Nancy Pelosi faces primary challenge from a former AOC aide. Sakat Chakrabarti, a former tech worker, is calling for generational change in the Democratic Party. Another chapter in a generational battle over the future of the Democratic Party appears to be taking shape in San Francisco in a fight for the seat now held by former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Sakat Chakrabarti, a former chief of staff for Representative AOC, announced Wednesday that he would challenge Pelosi in the primary, citing the former speaker's efforts to prevent the progressive New York Congress member from becoming the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. An Indian Daniel Radcliffe. I respect what Nancy Pelosi has accomplished in her career, but we are living in a totally different America than the one she knew when she entered politics 45 years ago. Chakrabarti is a 39-year-old former tech worker. America is stuck, and America wants real solutions that are as big as the problems we face. Pelosi, who stepped down as Speaker in 2022 after nearly 20 years in the position, easily won re-election in her deep blue San Francisco seat last year. Her office declined to comment on Chakrabarti's announcement. She has filed paperwork to run for re-election in 2026, but has not said publicly whether she will seek another term. State Senator Scott Wiener has long been expected to run for the seat if Pelosi were to step down. Local political figures have also speculated that the former speaker's daughter, Christine, might run for her seat if her mother were to retire. Whoever wins the primary is likely to win the general election and hold the seat for a long time in a city that remains a Democratic stronghold. Pelosi and the 35-year-old Ocasio-Cortez at times had a strained relationship. In December, she opposed the New York Progressives' bid to lead the Oversight Committee over 74-year-old Representative Jerry Connolly of Virginia, who won the race for the position. Chakrabarti, who previously worked for Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, criticized Pelosi's support of Connolly as he called for change in the party. Watching Trump and Elon freely unleash chaos in their illegal seizure of government, it's become clear to me that the Democratic Party needs new leadership. He's got my support. Fuck yeah, I want to see Nancy Pelosi go down in that race. All right, we're going to do crime stories now. I'm going to hit a content warning. There's some rough shit for like the next 30, 45 minutes. We've got body cameras. We've got standoffs, mass shootings. It's all here. We're going to start off tonight in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, where police have released body camera footage of the shooting of a teen by a sheriff's deputy. One more time, content warning. Under pressure, the Cuyahoga County releases video of teen shooting by a deputy. After 4 months, the county provided body cam footage and is weighing policy changes amid a Marshall Project and News 5 investigation. The video release came just hours before the Marshall Project and News 5 published its investigation into how the Sheriff's Department does not release video from deputy shootings. This differs from Cleveland's policy for footage of shootings by police officers, which are required to be released. A new policy to release videos of deputy shootings sooner will likely follow the news outlet's investigation. For months, the Sheriff's Department had refused to release body cam videos or detailed records of the shooting by its downtown safety patrol deputies. As late as Wednesday morning, Woodard said the case was still under investigation. Cleveland police were required by city law to release videos of officer shootings, but the Sheriff's downtown safety patrol, despite operating on those same city streets, is not held to the same oversight standards. So this happened in Cleveland, but it was the county that was handling it, and they're not required to release the body cam footage. Monsieur Balls, good evening. Some Cuyahoga County leaders have said that they want to adopt a law similar to the ones Cleveland enacted in 2022 and Akron passed in 2021. So this is the footage.
Hey, stop! He's got a gun! Stop! Get the on the ground! Get the on the ground! Get the on the ground! I'm on the ground. Radio, shots fired! Shots fired! I swear to God, that wasn't me. I swear. Man was reaching. I swear that wasn't me. He's going eastbound. I swear. Eastbound Superior.
How many times did you shoot him? This happened in October.
I swear I don't know. Send units, male in black, running eastbound Superior. Reaching, I think I saw a gun in his hand, silver colored gun, I think.
I think I saw a gun.
Reaching all you want, I swear. East 26, 90. Watch out, that male might be armed. I fired shots. I swear I'm not one. Are you hit? I swear. You hit? I swear I'm not. Cuff that dude up. I swear. We got that. I'm right here on the off ramp.
We're probably gonna handcuff him.
3 males. It's gonna be. We got 1 detained. He's wearing a red hoodie. There's a third one who went down the highway exit. I'm gonna try looking for him.
Just some kids doing what exactly? Being stupid kids.
The one I shot at was wearing black.
Shot at?
Or dark colors.
You don't even know.
Radio, can you reach out to Cleveland surrounding agencies, see if they have any canines available?
Already got everybody in around Metro Park, Cleveland.
The October 2024 shooting unfolded as Cuyahoga County Sheriff's deputies say they were in pursuit of a stolen Nissan carrying 3 people, one possibly armed. The chase ended in a crash near East 26th Street. This is in downtown Cleveland. This prompted the 3 teenagers inside to run. Deputies opened fire, striking a 15-year-old boy in the leg. The teen was treated for a single gunshot wound and released to county juvenile court authorities. He and 2 other teenage boys face a number of delinquency charges. The Marshall Project, Cleveland, and News 5 learned the identities of the 3 teenagers from police dispatch logs and requested juvenile court records. The news outlets are not identifying the teens because of their newsroom policies on generally not naming accused minors of crimes. The teens' parents agreed to allow their own names to be published. The teens all face numerous delinquency charges tied to the carjacking they're accused of participating in. Some include obstructing official business, receiving stolen property, aggravated robbery, robbery and theft of a motor vehicle. They have entered pleas of not true, the equivalent of not guilty. Of course, in Ohio, you've got to enter not true because Ohio is stupid and got to do things differently. Rogers said the bullet hit the side of her son's upper thigh as he was running away. The bullet entered and exited his leg. She questions the circumstances around the shooting. Juvenile court proceedings in December and January shed little light on the shooting. Prosecutors had repeatedly told a magistrate that they had yet to receive footage from the deputies' body cams and were waiting the results from gunshot residue tests. The calls for more public accountability come as deputies have increased patrol activities downtown. Critics want transparency in all police shootings regardless of the agency involved. Kid's lucky he is still alive. We're going to keep it in Ohio, where it was just another day. In mass shooting USA. Here, let me get... Oh, it's thundering outside, so I've got a cat that's scared and needs to be held. He's very upset right now. Hold on. He's like, I can't describe. He's like real low and ears laid back, and because it's thundering outside, and he needs a thunder buddy. I usually get him under the blanket. He's a sweetie. Can I get back to doing the news, Bubby? We're going from Cleveland to Columbus. This is in New Albany. Okay, it started in New Albany. Suspect was arrested in Columbus.
Townsend, we begin 10 TV News at noon today with breaking news. Columbus police are saying the suspect in that deadly mass shooting at a warehouse in New Albany is now in custody. In the last 2 hours, police say they found Bruce Reginald Foster.
So this is from yesterday.
Wineland Park on the corner of 7th Avenue and High Street. That's 23
The
miles.
shooting was on Tuesday.
In New Albany, off of State Route 161 and Beach Road. 10 TV has crews in both locations. This afternoon, our team coverage will begin, and it's continuing for the past 13 hours. Bruce Foster is charged with aggravated murder for the shooting at KDC-1 in New Albany, where at this time, we know one person was killed, 5 other people were injured. We have team coverage for you from both of those scenes and New Albany Police Headquarters, where Foster will be booked. We're going to get right out to Bryn Caswell first. Bryn talked with a witness to that arrest near Wineland Park. Bryn, what can you tell us?
Hi, Tracy. So this is still very much an active scene here on 7th.
Yeah, you look like a Bryn.
BCI just showing up to the apartment complex here on 7th.
My apologies to anybody named Bryn. Why am I bitching about Bryns?
Cameras and gloves into this scene. I just spoke with BCI. I just spoke with an agent, and he tells me they have obtained a search warrant and they are actively searching and processing one of the apartment units inside of this complex. Now, about a few hours ago, I did speak with an employee who works down the street from this apartment complex. This is the photo he took of the suspect, Mr. Foster, being apprehended. You can see there were ambulances there. Columbus police officers, the U.S. Marshals were there as well. And this is what he had to say about everything he saw happening.
I wish to see something like reformed or redone, definitely with our situation, like with our officials. I feel like we just need to talk more as a community and get together and do something about it.
Mr. Lube sounds dirty.
A lot of shock being felt here. I was speaking with multiple people as they were coming and going.
I'm sorry.
Complex this morning, and a lot of them were OSU students, and they were scared that this violent person was hiding inside of one of these units. And when I was speaking minutes ago with another BCI officer, I asked him if he could confirm to me that if this was where Mr. Foster lived, or if he was hiding here inside of this apartment complex with a family member or a friend, and they could not confirm that for me at this time. But again, a lot of people that live here in this area, they are shocked that Mr. Foster was apprehended right outside here. But as we are going to continue to stay out here, BCI is still on scene. Columbus police are here as well. And again, like I said, they have a search warrant and they're actively searching an apartment unit here on 7th Ave. So Tracy, that's all we know for right now. We're going to send things back to you.
All right. Thank you for those interesting details there. Now, as mentioned, the suspect was arrested.
Really loud thunder happened. Smokey went in the cabinet. Maynard went under the bed. Socks got up in the window to watch. 3 completely different reactions from the cats. Socks is like, where's the action at? Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, here's the suspect was arrested.
We also have a crew out in New Albany at the police headquarters where we have been told Bruce Foster is going to be booked. 10 TV News reporter Tara Jabor is there with the latest again from New Albany. Tara.
Tell us about Bruce Foster.
Tracy, that's right. We're here at the New Albany Police Department. Now, over the last hour, we've seen a number of police cars.
I guess I'll get Socks because he's the only one that's out.
An hour ago, we did see a large truck come in through this garage that you're seeing on the left-hand side. The truck had all blacked out windows and they backed into that garage. I did reach out to the communications team here at New Albany to see if Foster is already here, and I'm waiting for a response now. We know that Foster, of course, worked at that KDC-1 warehouse where the shooting happened. Police say that he worked a few hours of his shift and then the shooting happened and then Foster left the warehouse. Now, as for the motive, police say they are still working to figure out what exactly that.
He's upset. He was watching the storm.
One person is dead and that 5 others are injured. Again, we're here at the New Albany Police Department waiting for Foster to come here. We'll, of course, keep you updated when we have more information. Tracy?
All right, Tara Jabor in New Albany. We also have Lacey Crisp out there where this all started, that KDC-1 warehouse off 161. Lacey, what's the scene there? I mean, we're more than 12 hours later. What's the scene now?
That's right, Tracy. For about 12 hours, this facility was completely surrounded by dozens of police cruisers from many different agencies. Now, I got word just before 10:30 this morning that the suspect, Foster, had been taken into custody. Within about 10 minutes of that news, most of the police cruisers that were at this warehouse left. Now, I can tell you, if you take a look now, there isn't much of a scene here as we speak, but they still have the road closed. The facility is supposed to be closed for the day. Now, the New Albany police chief told us that Foster does work here. He had worked for several hours before the shooting took place. The police are still trying to find a motive. And SWAT teams from Columbus Police and Licking County Sheriff's Office searched
The job made him snap.
last night trying to find Foster. New Albany, of course, is a growing community, but the chief says his heart really goes.
9 different blonde reporters working on this case. We're going to go to Maine, where it was also just another day. Very nice TV. Welcome in. Would somebody give Very Nice TV a shout out? It's very nice to see you. Would you like to debate? Do you disagree with me on something? I'm always down. I try to get the chuds to call in. We've had a little luck here lately. Police have identified the mall shooter in Maine. But apparently the search is continuing.
Some new information this noontime on the shooting at the Maine Mall from late.
Light one up, tip one back.
Last 90 minutes. Police provided an update on what happened and their search for the man they are calling armed and dangerous. Our Pearl Small is live in South Portland this noontime with the latest on the investigation. What can you tell us, Pearl?
Hey, Brian. Yeah, we're standing as close as we can to the food court entrance at the mall because that's where the chief of police says that the suspect allegedly fled after the shooting.
It's a whiteout.
This is still an active manhunt for that suspect. And they did release some more information on the details that they believe happened about the shooting. And they said that it's believed to be that the suspect encountered somebody in the bathroom and then shot the victim in the upper right leg. Now, it hit a major artery, and that put the victim in critical condition. Police said that the first people to
I'm getting there.
were actually mall.
Don't step on my dick, Flash.
And as police were securing the building, they were able to get EMS staff in there to get to the victim and take them to the hospital and then undergo surgery. Now they say that victim is in good condition, and they've actually been able to interview the victim, but they have not been able to get much. The victim has.
This is not that.
Them. They say that the victim actually told them they don't know the shooter that shot them. So, and now
I have a solution.
Active manhunt for that shooter, and they say that they believe the shooter got into a car when he left and fled the scene. And now, because that suspect is on the loose still, there have been some concerns from the public about whether they are safe to go out. The chief did offer some reassurance today about people with concerns.
Is the public safe? Yes, the public is safe. It's hard to say, well, how can he be safe? How can the public be safe if he's not in custody? Well, we're not sure that he's even in the state of Maine. We're still conducting a thorough search and using our forensic tools to find out where he is and locate him. We're hoping to come to a resolution sometime later today where we have located him and brought him into custody. Then, yes,
Ooh, I've got an update. He is in custody as of like 3 hours ago. Turned himself in. Maine mall shooting suspect turned himself into police.
We have some breaking news in just now. Police say they have now caught the suspected gunman who fired 2 shots at the Maine mall yesterday in the food court, wounding 1 person. Again, all of this unfolding yesterday afternoon.
Ahmed Bashir Awad is charged with elevated aggravated assault, as well as reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon and carrying a concealed and threatening display of a weapon.
He is held on $100,000 cash bail right now at the Cumberland County Jail. Let's get the latest on this. CBS 13's Brad Rogers joining us now live at the Maine Mall with more on this breaking news, Brad.
Well, one of the big questions still to remains is where's the gun? The police have not recovered the gun at this time, but we do know it was a negotiated surrender thanks to a third party. So that is good news, and I think a lot of Mainers can rest a little bit easier to
Mainers.
The suspect is behind bars in this shooting. As for what prompted all of this, police say the victim in this case isn't saying much and claims he doesn't know the gunman.
We responded to what we thought was an active shooter at the mall.
Police feared the worst as they sped to Main Mall. South Portland's police chief says it's fortunate this was an isolated incident. One victim and a suspected gunman, Ahmed Bashir Awad, seen on food court surveillance cameras leaving the mall after the shooting.
We are actively seeking the shooter. We're not sure that he's even in the state of Maine. We're still conducting a thorough search and using our forensic tools to find out.
I mean, Maine's not very big.
We're hoping to come to a resolution sometime later today where we have located him and brought him into custody.
In December, there was another shooting near the mall. Police arrested one suspect and are looking for the other. Some people who work in the mall told us they've not been trained on what to do in an active shooter situation.
Honestly, I had no idea what to do because I was not trained in a situation like this, so we had no idea where to go or what to do.
Everyone was just kind of confused, I think.
Oh, you're adorable. Pull a gun.
They ended up running up.
You pull your gun.
Train at the mall for active shooters.
It's the American way.
Chief Dan Ahern says he doesn't know about training for mall employees. We reached out to Main Mall staff and their parent company. No one got back with us. Police say surveillance footage did show 2 mall security officers taking immediate action.
Second the gunshots went off and everybody else ran out, they ran to where the gunshots came from.
Police say the victim is out of surgery and will recover.
His wound was in his right leg. I can't tell you whether or not that artery was severed, but he did show signs of significant hemorrhage, and that is what he was treated for.
I could do that haircut.
Suspected gunman has been arrested. He is behind bars tonight, charged with 3 felonies. He has been charged before in past cases with carrying a concealed weapon and violating a condition of his release. We still do not know where the gun is that was used in the shooting. We're live.
If it was up your ass, you'd know it. Why am I like this? Oh, I better hit the content warning. We got some graphic violence going on here. We're keeping it in Maine. A lot of shit be happening in Maine this week. The residents of Portage Lake, a town of about 400 people in northern Maine, said they were traumatized by a standoff that left a man and a police K-9 dead. Stephen Regini, 29, posted a video of himself to social media that showed him armed with a gun during Monday's standoff with law enforcement. Authorities said Maine State Police troopers and Ustuk County Sheriff's deputies responded to Regini's residence on Ranger Street after Regini's 18-year-old wife told law enforcement that he had been fighting with her and pushed her into a wall. By the time officers arrived, Regini's wife was out of the home, but Regini was still inside with her 4-week-old daughter. Troopers and deputies spoke with Regini through a window and on a telephone and persuaded him to come outside. Officials said Regini resisted arrest and a struggle ensued while law enforcement tried to take him into custody. Regini then pulled a gun from his waistband and shot at officers as he retreated into his home, according to authorities. As the deputies and troopers attempted to back out of the driveway, Regini grabbed another gun and fired at a cruiser. Aroostook County Sheriff's Deputy Shane Campbell was struck in the shoulder by gunfire. Deputy Reed Clark then shot at Regini, who was able to get back inside the house. So is that where the video picks up that we're getting ready to watch? This was the video I live streamed.
I'm here. My name is JustinFREAKIN. I am a resident of Maine, and I had the cops called on me. A SWAT team showed up, and I'm now engaged in a shootout. My state has been the #1 abortion and gay rights state in the entire country, and I've been segregated against for my beliefs. Now they're trying to arrest me simply because I do not believe in gay rights and abortion, which is the #1 state of Maine.
That's not the reason they're trying to arrest you.
They're an abortion mill. So I'm here. I'm in a shootout with the authorities who are protecting the rights of doctors to murder babies, and they are protecting the rights of children to be ripped out of the womb and killed. I'm here with my baby daughter, who they're also trying to take away, and
This is real.
I assure you that I am not the aggressor here.
He shot a canine already.
They're trying to make me a criminal. They are trying to get me in trouble. They are trying to take me to jail for a long time for getting in an argument with my wife, which was a simple argument. I've spoke with her since. I love my wife. I love my daughter. I'm so grateful for all Claude has blessed me with. I'm grateful for my farm. I'm grateful for everything, all my friends and people who love me. And I'm sorry this had to happen. I really am, but I'm backed into a corner with my political beliefs. I haven't been able to find a job in a year, and my entire life has been just struggling for existence, fighting Democrats and trying to stand up for my country. Let me ask you, if you're a law enforcement officer, why do you support the COVID vaccines? Why do you support abortion? Why do you support...
Right-wing media has rotted his goddamn brain.
For a state system that protects illegal immigrants and pedophiles. Please explain this to me. Please explain to me why abortion is still legal in my state. Why are the babies dying? Why? Why is this legal up till the time of conception? That's why I'm fighting. I'm fighting for the babies. I'm fighting for the unborn. And I'm fighting for righteousness and Christianity to be restored in this country. Christ is Lord. God bless.
Amen.
And I'm sorry to you, my parents. I love you, my parents. I love you, my wife. I love you, my daughter. I love you, all my beloved friends and business partners. And God bless you. I'm sorry it had to end this way.
Maine.
Local residents of Portage, a town with a population of around 400, say they were traumatized by that incident that left one man dead. Jim Keithley reports tonight.
An armed standoff suspect who would end up dead posted this dramatic video to social media.
I'm here. My name is JustinFREAKIN. I am a resident of Maine, and I had the cops called on me. A SWAT team showed up, and I am now engaged in a shootout.
It was, I'm gonna end up starting to cry. It was just pretty upsetting.
From Coffin's General Store in downtown Portage Lake, Tracy Wadsworth, a clerk, can see the apartment building at 20 Ranger Street, where a Maine State Police tactical team converged Monday. Police said it was in response to a domestic dispute, which led to an armed standoff involving 29-year-old Stephen Regini. Regini's 18-year-old wife told police her husband pushed her into a wall. The couple's 4-week-old baby was in the house with Regini during the standoff, which lasted several hours. Police say Regini shot Deputy Shane Campbell in the shoulder. Police came...
This is the exact script I read, wasn't it?
...to try to take the suspect into custody. But police say Regini shot the police dog in the chest. The dog later died. 2 officers returned fire, and Regini was killed. Tracy Wadsworth said she spoke with Regini's wife today.
She said that's not him. She said, he was having some sort of mental breakdown. She talked to him throughout the day and had tried to get him to surrender, turn himself in, and he said he couldn't do it.
The wounded officer was treated and released from a hospital in Presque Isle. Police said the infant daughter was not hurt and returned to her mother. The Attorney General's office is investigating.
That poor girl, 18 years old, going to be traumatized.
I'm Jim Keithley for Maine's Total Coverage.
How old was this dude? 29 years old. 11 years older than that young girl. That's grooming. The math is questionable. They got a 4-week or 4-month-old? Four-week-old. That's cutting it close. I don't know what the legal age of consent is in Maine, but those Romeo and Juliet laws are supposed to be for people who are 16 and 19, not 16 and 29. We apparently have new evidence in the trial of Karen Reed. She's the woman who was accused of killing her cop boyfriend.
Karen Reed and John O'Keefe's
Tier 2, welcome in.
Superior Court today. The pretrial motion hearing took place despite the snow and sleet we had. We have team coverage tonight. Sue O'Connell standing by in the newsroom to add some context to today's hearing. But we want to begin in Dedham with NBC 10's John Maroney. You were in court today, John. What can you tell us?
JC, the trial is still set to get underway in the spring after both sides, as you know, requested a delay. If Judge Beverly Cannoni did not agree, it would be underway right now.
The Commonwealth versus Karen Reed.
A cold, dreary winter day outside the Dedham courthouse.
This is a civil case.
Might have been the daily backdrop had the start of the high-profile case not been moved to April.
Can you say suck on TV? Because that would have sucked. Oh, watch out, watch out, watch out.
Inside the courtroom, Judge Beverly Cannoni rejected a prosecution request to keep defense expert Richard Green off the stand. Karen Reed's accused of hitting and killing John O'Keefe with her SUV and leaving him to die in the snow. In her first trial, Green challenged the timing.
Oh, this is the retrial.
Phone search, how long to die in the cold, raising questions about when and how O'Keefe died.
To me, it's rather a difference of opinions that need to be resolved by the jury.
Reed also asked the judge for $12,000 from the state for a witness she paid to retrieve video from a DVR at the Canton Police Department. She says the video wasn't available as promised, yet she's still stuck with the bill.
You should deny the motion. Nobody was misled in this case. They've taken a professional courtesy in an effort to...
I'm still on her side.
They've distorted it into some type of injustice.
The video showing Reed's SUV in the police sally port has been a source of contention. The defense says it's been manipulated and given to them piecemeal, pointing to new video that it says shows ATF agent Brian Higgins outside the Canton PD on his phone the night John O'Keefe died.
This entire situation surrounding this DVR and the Commonwealth's maintenance of that DVR and the footage on it is a complete dumpster fire.
Now, in the first trial, the defense tried unsuccessfully to have the case dismissed entirely. It will try it again. As a result, the judge has set a hearing for March 4th. Well, I've in Dedham, John Maroney, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, John, thank you. Let's bring in our courtroom insider.
Hope she wins again.
Discussion. So, Sue, so far Karen Reed is facing the same charges as she did in the first trial. You, however, had said you expect this trial to be handled quite differently. Why is that?
Well, I think there's definitely going to be a different type of energy, JC. And granted, that may not mean anything to future jurors because we can assume those chosen for service may not have watched as much of the first trial as we have. But look, Special Assistant District Attorney Hank Brennan, he is a defense attorney who was tapped to prosecute Reed, while Attorney Alan Jackson is a former prosecutor, now a defense attorney. So I think we're going to see a different level of lawyering in this case.
I thought Alan Jackson was way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
Learned there was an iCloud account connected to the data on a DVR at the Canton Police Department, something that was not revealed in the first trial.
Why does this look like a Sherry O'Terry, Rachel Dratch fucking sketch on Saturday Night Live to me?
After all the scrutiny in this case, were you surprised by this?
No, I wasn't surprised by it. Look, this is the same police department that was the origin of that Sallyport video that ended up being inverted. Evidence collection and retention doesn't really seem to be their strong suit. Look, I'll note also that 16 pieces of new evidence was handed over to the defense from the prosecution, and Brennan is alleging that there's navigation and Google search info on Karen's phone that he wants to see. So this trial will have new evidence for the jurors to consider.
Well, the prosecution...
Yeah, wait a minute, they didn't already have, like, GPS data?
Defense expert Richard Green, who testified about Jennifer McCabe's Google, which says house long to die in cold, was made at 2:27 a.m. They want that excluded. What did Judge Cannoni decide and why?
Yeah, as John Maroney was reporting, the prosecution's argument was that two other experts disagreed with Green. But Judge Cannoni ruled, look, there's no reason why Green cannot testify, and saying it's up to the
Cannoni sounds like a pastry.
Which experts to believe. And as we learned during this case, as Judge Cannoni has said a number of times, just because it's presented or said in court as evidence.
If I remember correctly, that was the defense's argument, was like the cops killed him. Like they were dirty cops and he was like the dirtiest. Oh, that's not fun.
facts or testimony doesn't mean that it's true or correct. The future jurors are the ones that are going to have to be the deciders on the Haas long to die in the cold search again.
Sue O'Connell, thanks so much for providing your insight. And by the way, just like Karen Reed's first trial, we will be bringing you live coverage once the retrial gets
Canton Confidential.
Right now it's scheduled to begin April 1st. We'll be carrying
that's an April Fool's joke.
Digital streaming platforms and our sister station NECN, followed by analysis right here on NBC 10.
And I will be keeping up with it even more this next time because now I'm invested in it. I'm ditching this one. No, well, this is a downer. Oh. This one's kind of a downer too, but also like a little schadenfreude. Stories about child sex crimes are usually downers. We talked about him, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Houston man pardoned by Trump has now been arrested on the child sex crime charges. Andrew Tate received a 6-year sentence for assaulting officers on January 6th. He was arrested on Thursday on an outstanding charge of soliciting a minor. Yep, that's what I'd expect him to look like. We should, start a tally of the January 6ers that were pardoned, the violent criminals that Trump released back onto the streets. A Houston man who was recently pardoned by President Donald Trump for his role in January 6th has been arrested on an outstanding child sex crimes charge. Tate, 36, was taken into custody on Thursday after spending more than 2 weeks as a fugitive. The Harris County District Attorney's Office said in a statement he had previously been charged with online solicitation of a minor stemming from a 2016 incident in which he allegedly sent sexually explicit messages to an undercover law enforcement officer who was posing as a 15-year-old girl. Tate was among the roughly 1,600 people, including 120 Texans, who were charged for their roles in the U.S. Capitol riot, which ultimately resulted in 5 deaths, injuries to 140 police officers, and $2.8 million in damage. Federal prosecutors said Tate used bear spray and a metal whip to assault officers, and he was caught after bragging about the incident to a woman he met on an online dating app. Screenshots of his messages to the woman, who later alerted law enforcement, show that he sent a selfie of himself to the woman that he said was taken about 30 minutes after the incident, according to court records. In June, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison after pleading guilty in 2023, but was released from federal prison in Colorado following Trump's sweeping January 20th pardon of those charged for partaking in the melee. Tate's release was condemned by Harris County District Attorney Sean Thier, who said that his office had faxed a copy of Tate's outstanding warrant to the Federal Bureau of Prisons 5 days before he was pardoned. About 2 weeks on the lam, Tate was located and arrested at a residence in Leon County, Texas, the Harris County DA said on Thursday. Trump has referred to January 6 defendants as patriots and hostages and said his mass pardon ends a grave national injustice that has been perpetrated upon the American people. But many of them, including at least 37 Texans, were charged with assault or other violent crimes. Others were members of extremist groups or militias, including Stuart Rhodes, the former Granbury resident and leader of the Oath Keepers militia, who was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison after a jury found him guilty of seditious conspiracy. We were talking about Nepo children earlier, weren't we? I don't know if I can call him a Nepo kid because I don't even know anything about him. So it's not like he's using his name, right? But he's driving around in a Lamborghini. Marcus Jordan, the son of Michael Jordan, arrested after fleeing deputies. Police chase, you say?
Developing right now, the son of NBA legend Michael Jordan is out of jail. We broke the news of him bonding out of jail at noon, and now we're digging into his arrests on the train tracks in Maitland. West 2's Michelle Meredith live in Maitland near those tracks. And Michelle,
it's Pat.
First run-in with law enforcement overnight.
Well, earlier,
Avalon, good evening.
County deputies had tried to stop him for reckless driving, but he wouldn't stop. So imagine everyone's surprise when they found him stopped on these railroad tracks in Maitland.
Tell us your side of the story, Marcus. Fresh out of jail, Jordan was mom. Marcus, what do you think your father would be thinking at this point? No desire to tell his side of the story, and it's a long one. It started in Maitland when police say they saw the headlights of Jordan's blue Lamborghini parked on the railroad tracks, not far from Cappy's Subs. You could see tire marks leading up to the tracks. Police were concerned. A Sunrail train was in the area 10 minutes away, and he had a passenger in the car.
Maitland police say they were insisting that Jordan gets out of his SUV, but they say he insisted that he drive his car off the tracks. When they finally got him out, they say they learned 3 things.
Southbound 600, high rate of speed.
Number 1. Earlier, deputies in Seminole County tried to pull him over, make a traffic stop, but he sped away. 2. Marcus Jordan allegedly looked and smelled like he was drinking. And 3, police say they found a bag of cocaine in his pocket. During the arrest,
that's cool.
He was not cooperating, was singing all the way to the
singing,
and his speech was slurred. When questioned how he got on the tracks, Maitland police report he kept saying he made the wrong turn.
Jordan from way outside.
Marcus Jordan played basketball for UCF, and as the son of basketball legend Michael Jordan, it was a big deal.
What up, Alex?
Now, we're in a strange little remote area.
He was drinking on top of that, Avalon.
This is a dead-end street, Oak Avenue.
Yeah, he took a wrong turn.
Where his tire tracks ran right up to the railroad tracks. And I have to tell you, it's a kind of amazing that he found this place in the first place. Live in Orange County, Michelle Meredith.
That was amazing. That was in Florida. For some reason, I was thinking it was Orange County, California. It was Orange County, Florida. Our next story is about $1 million sneaker heist, so I'm sure Jordans were a part of it, and they were. It's the very first picture.
These are some of the thousands of shoes uncovered by investigators at a warehouse on Western Avenue. The Cook County Sheriff's Office says the entire sting was around $1 million worth of shoes. The man at the center, police say, is Eric Luano Batista, who also subleased the warehouse. He was arrested for another high-end theft ring in Lyons back in 2023. Police say millions of dollars worth of shoes were found in another warehouse.
I think this is where we might need to think about revisiting a little bit about the conditions under which people are released.
Rob Carr with the Illinois Retail Merchants Association says seeing the same offenders is disheartening.
I think it fits the pattern we often see. These are often, the vast majority of retail thefts are committed by repeat criminals.
Carr says 70% of people charged with retail theft steal repeatedly. Many get their supply from smash and grabs like this, or stealing products off cargo trains. Carr says that law enforcement is using new technology to share information about theft rings and to alert retailers about crime in their area. It also allows
We're using AI
more easily. The new system is called Aurora. It allows police in multiple jurisdictions to be on high alert for offenders in the area.
But certainly help, for example, someone in DeKalb who says, wait a second, we just picked up someone who fits this MO of someone who's committing a crime in, Belvedere, and someone who did the same thing in Naperville. Maybe there's a connection.
Has that been successful?
Just started, Marissa. It's certainly been successful in other states. We would expect it to be successful.
Next door, but for cops.
For Luano Batista, in 2023, he had his charges dropped. We reached out to the state attorney's office to ask why and did not hear back.
You look like the guy from Lincoln Park. Is that racist? I don't even know what race the dude from Lincoln Park is. I don't know who Joe Burrow is either, but apparently his home was burglarized. And the burglars posed with pictures. They took pictures of themselves with their haul. The men charged with burglary at Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow's house took photos of themselves, flashing some of the spoils, nearly $300,000 worth of jewelry, watches, designer luggage, and glasses. One of them wore necklaces with pendants showing the number 9 and JB9, Burrow's jersey number. One of the, he's white. I wasn't expecting that. Is that racist of me? One of the men tried to delete the photos from a cell phone as police pulled them over in Ohio, but investigators were able to recover the pictures and included cancel Justin D. Minty, good evening. And included some of them in a new federal complaint filed by an FBI agent that was unsealed on Wednesday. The investigation spanned several states and led to the arrest of 6 people. Federal authorities say it's a story involving South American burglary crews that have been targeting upscale homes around the country and a fencing operation run at a New York City pawn shop. In court documents, investigators haven't publicly connected the December 9th burglary at Burrow's home in Cincinnati to the other thefts reported at high-profile athletes' houses. But the complaint released Wednesday said there were similarities in many of the break-ins, and the investigation is ongoing. Thieves also have pilfered luxury items from the homes of quarterback Patrick Mahomes and tight end Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs, and NBA players like Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks, I guess now the LA Lakers, and Mike Conley Jr. of Minnesota. Warlord asked me what that meant because apparently it was a big deal, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. Never heard of the dude until social media was arguing about it on Wednesday or whatever it was, Tuesday. Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce. On Wednesday, 3 of the 4 men allegedly accused by local authorities of burglarizing Burrow's home were indicted by a federal grand jury in Cincinnati on charges of transporting stolen goods interstate and falsifying records. A cop in South Carolina has been charged with indecent exposure. Police officers have been charged with indecent exposure following an incident on Tuesday. Yeah, this is what I was looking for.
A woman is opening up to Channel 9 after she says a man ran up to her naked while she was in Charlotte's 4th Ward Park. We first told you about this case on Monday. Now the victim tells Channel 9's Amelia White that she wants others to be on alert.
A woman wants to share a warning with other runners after she witnessed a man expose himself in 4th Ward Park.
I was very scared. It was very frightening to see that person. This woman didn't want to be identified, but she wanted to share her experience in 4th Ward Park on Sunday morning. It's a crime I first told you about Monday. He was running around naked, so I saw his entire body, and it was very shocking to see this happen on a Sunday morning in such a family-friendly
On a Sunday morning.
She was in the park at the time.
The Lord's Day.
Officers charge Brandon Braxton with indecent exposure. And we didn't know if he was dangerous. We didn't know what he was capable of. So it made us very nervous. Luckily, she wasn't in the park alone.
I was in a group of a few women, actually, and
is this the cop? They're not making a lot of...
Fortunate to be in that situation, but to try not to travel alone whenever you can.
As a runner, it's a piece of advice she's now offering to her fellow runners.
Be very aware of what's going on around you. Don't wear headphones. Make sure that you know the route that you're going on. She also said if you are going for a run or a walk, let your loved ones know where you are and constantly.
Hold on. Is this Brandon Braxton the same? This is a different dude. We got a completely different indecent exposure. They just slapped that video on there. Former police officer has been charged with indecent exposure following an incident on Tuesday. According to the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, 43-year-old Cornelius Jacques Barr exposed himself to a woman multiple times. The woman then shared video evidence with SLED of their encounter. Barr was booked into the Dillon County Detention Center. The case will be prosecuted. We don't get a lot of details, and that wasn't the video was to throw us off so we don't ask questions about the cop. I want to see the cop. Show me this dude.
For News to Go, we have a look at today's top news stories, traffic, and weather.
God damn it. They're not giving us any details. Boo. Allegedly exposed himself. That's all we've got. Boo. A Miami woman beat her daughter with a guitar for apparently just being like 10 minutes late. Miami woman accused of beating daughter with a guitar after waiting more than 10 minutes for her after school. According to the arrest report, Seda Orlenia Castellanos, 52, was picking her daughter up from school Monday afternoon in the city's Little Havana neighborhood when she became angry and frustrated that her daughter had her waiting for more than 10 minutes. Miami police said Orlenia Castellanos became more upset when she discovered that her daughter, whose age was not disclosed in the report, was late coming out of the school because she was hanging out with a group of boys. According to the report, Orlenia and her daughter got into an argument inside the car, at which time the mother called her daughter a whore. Why are we getting this like fucking dirty in the news story? Once they arrived at home, Orlenia ordered her daughter to immediately begin doing her chores. Police said the daughter instead went into her bedroom to change out of her uniform, which further angered Orlenia, who entered the room and began to verbally insult her daughter. According to the report, a physical fight ensued, at which time Orlenia grabbed her daughter by the hair and dragged her into the hallway while slapping her repeatedly in the face. Police said the victim tripped on a piece of furniture and landed on the floor, at which time her mother grabbed a metal guitar that was attached to the wall, began striking her daughter with it, causing serious injuries to the girl's body and face. According to the report, Orlenia Castellanos then grabbed a wooden broomstick from the closet and beat her daughter with it, causing it to break in half. The victim's 15-year-old sister witnessed the beating and provided police with video capturing the abuse. According to the report, the victim suffered multiple lacerations to her face, scratches to both sides of her face, a bruised right eye, and marks on her back. These injuries sustained by the daughter show clear indications of permanent disfigurement, an officer wrote in the arrest report. Police said the victim was treated at the scene by Miami Fire Rescue, and the Florida Department of Children and Families was also contacted. Police did not confirm in the report who the sisters were handed over to. Their mother, however, was arrested on charges of aggravated battery causing great bodily harm and aggravated child abuse. Man, it'll buff out. As of Tuesday afternoon, she was being held at the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center, where her bond had yet to be set. Okay, I'm going to show you is this called a near miss? That's the George Carlin bit. Is it a near miss or is it a... God, I forgot what the rest of it was. Barely misses, a school bus barely misses a semi. This will pucker your butthole.
Oh, shit.
Amazing driving. Whoever that bus driver is, give them a raise. Hold on, we've got to watch that again. Jesus Christ. Fantastic driving.
Oh, shit.
The Karen Reed case.
Didn't catch it in time. Well done, bus driver,
today.
indeed. One more time.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit, indeed. That's insanely good driving. I'm trying to kind of rush now because it's kind of storming outside. My lord, welcome in. Good evening. Kind of like to shut down my electronics.
Are those fireworks coming from this truck's window?
Damn it.
Investigators with the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office in Washington State are now looking for the driver and passenger of the vehicle. A woman driving on the road says she was being
just having a little fun.
Four-door Dodge truck. She told
this was America
when she slowed to let the driver go around her. That's when a person in the passenger seat of the truck started throwing fireworks at her car. Then the truck followed her for several minutes, she told police. Police say the woman reported the truck, eventually drove off after she pulled into a supermarket parking lot. The Kitsap County Sheriff's Office asks anyone with information on the incident to call 911 and report it. This is Inside Edition Digital.
I tried to throw some firecrackers out of a window of a car one time at another car, and I fucked it up, and it went under the car that I was in. So like we had firecrackers. Because, you know, I'm stupid like that. Because, of course, I did. I don't show whales very often. People like whales. We should watch whales. This is a beluga whale returning a phone.
Den fette kødd! Men, oh my god! Er det kødd? Er det kødd? Ta den. Er det fette kødd? Men, oh my god! Er det kødd?
I'm cynical. I am.